What's going on, guys? BladeZilla here, and today we're taking a look at this gorgeous new release from Shirogorov. This is the Quantium WKM, and they are only found through lottery at the recent R1 Invitational for, I believe, mid-November. Just this past, actually, at the time of recording it was just this past weekend, and I believe only 50 of these were made. Super cool, and would go terrifically well with, if you guys recall, I did a Quantum WKM. That was probably back a few months ago now. This would be the sister to that knife. Brother, sister, whatever version you want to call it. But it is the, as far as I know, kind of the first high-end Quantium model that they've kind of produced. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Sit back, relax, grab yourself a beer, cold drink, whatever you want, coffee. For me, it's morning, so I'll be having a coffee. As a reminder, check out BladeZilla.ca, where a lot of the knives featured on this channel are available for sale, where right now there's the Shirogorov on the site. Lots of good stuff from there, that really cool red-brown LMAX F3. Bunch of the new F3s, actually, some cool wood stuff, some tools. Still have this Romeo and Juliet knife, really cool. Did a video on that recently. Super nice, and lots of good stuff. So F95s, Quantums, you name it. Lots of good Shiros. That's BladeZilla.ca. I won't go into too much detail on the site. Obviously, there'll be a link in the description if you want to check that out. Okay, where to start on this knife, other than it's super sweet and looks phenomenal? I really don't know. It's a Quantum, and let's take a look at this blade. Okay, that's enough. How good does that look? Okay, so as far as I know, this is the same blade steel that's used on a lot of like the Astrum First Productions, Astrum Sprint Run, as well as what was that other one they recently did? My mind's blank, but anyway. It's a ZDI-E, so that E is LMAX. So it's kind of a Damascus blade, lots of cool patterning. They're all unique in their own right, and they're beautifully done. This is not something you're going to find on a lot of the, on any of the production models. So pretty cool. Pretty cool. In terms of other features that kind of separate this knife, other than that beautiful, I think, what is it called? Zlatanox or something? Blade. You've kind of got some features of some custom division knives here. Kind of going on. So first and foremost, that pivot. That's a custom division pivot. That is not on any other production knife. So that's gorgeous. They call it, I think it's PLDS, does that sound right? Like Pivot Load Distribution System. I think is what it's called. I'd have to actually look it up, and I'm going to look that up just in case I am kind of fumbling things here. So let me just double check on that. Okay, so I did look that up, and I was correct. PLDS is included on this knife, which is traditionally only on custom division knives. So Pivot Load Distribution System. That is, I believe what that does stand for. So it does have that. Whew, almost messed that up, hey guys? Other than that, gorgeous knife. I just think that, this might be, I'm curious if this is a tell to see if we're going to be seeing more of that beautiful pivot or not. I don't know. Anyway, it does have that tie backspacer as well, which, that's a beefy, thick backspacer for Quantium. Very much in line with the full Quantums models. And I guess I should probably preface this video by saying the Quantium tends to be a half carbon or composite version of the Quantum. So that's where Quantium kind of comes from. Whereas the Quantum WKM, that's already been done. Gorgeous knife. And geez, we were lucky to get a couple of those ones in. They did phenomenally well after entering a lot of lottery spots on those. A couple other features here on that blade. I believe we've kind of got some, yes, I'm trying to see. I don't have notes with me, but yes, we do have some kind of satin flats as well on that blade. That's a nice finish as well. I don't know how they do that with the Damascus. Kind of curious myself. It does run on multi-roll bearings, and this one, gorgeous feel. I almost wonder sometimes, maybe it might be the PLDS and how they make it work, but these higher end, low production ones just have really good action right from the get-go. And I always dig that. Obviously it's the white carbo tie material, as you can kind of see here, and it changes colors from every single angle. They're all going to be completely unique. And whereas right now I have a fixed light source above the camera, you can kind of see it dancing around. When you take this knife and you put it outside with light from all angles, oh boy, it sparkles and pops and shines, and it's a gorgeous nice knife to have. I did talk about that backspacer. It is stonewash tie, I believe. And let's flip it over here. We have more of the white carbo tie on the inlay side, which just looks stunning and beautiful. No problems there. We still have that other machined pivot as well, that hardware. And you know, to me, you're kind of looking at the finishing on this. It's very much like CD level finishing, kind of all the way around. Like a normal Quantum wouldn't be plain like this. It wouldn't have that kind of extra milling work done on it. It's just really nice, really nicely done. We'll talk about the bead after. I also want to take a look on the inside of this to see what we're working with. Oh, got a little Easter egg underneath. I've got a little bear on the backspacer. Let me grab my knife, or my light. I gotta stop filming these first thing in the morning. I just don't have time. Yeah, the little bear. Hopefully you can see that on the inside there. That is a nice touch. And that backspacer is also a high-end backspacer. They're not normally milled like that underneath. Let me grab... We'll do some comparisons here. Let me just see. Here's an F90 Hattie. Here's a Hattie production level Hattie backspacer to give you a comparison underneath. It's not milled whatsoever on the inside, so just food for thought on that one. And what else do we got? It is internally skeletonized, as you would expect. The carbon is not. There's nothing there. And I did want to shine that light underneath to see if there's any float to this guy. Nope, pretty tight. Pretty tight. Gorgeous. Love that kind of detail. I just love that the bear is in there. I love that. What else can I talk about? Did they flip the hardware on this? I'm trying to recall. Have they always had that blank, or was it a little screw on the side? No, you're right. So they had it, there's your Hattie, sorry. Not looking at the camera if it wants to focus. There we go. Yeah, they did flip the hardware on this. So on the handle, that little screw there is flipped. Interesting. And that's why when I had this over, I saw the screw head here, and I was like, hey, that looks unusual to have that on this side. But hey, I'm not complaining. Oh. I had a comment on one of my videos. I always say the word tolerances are really tight tolerances. And maybe the word I was looking for was actually a little bit different. But all I'm trying to say on the tolerances side is the construction of it is really tight. So when I look at kind of the blade and the handle here, and I think it was on one of the higher end recent ones. It might have been a MIDI-Q Sprint Runner Custom Division. It may have also been on the Loxa knife. I mentioned tolerances, and anyway, I apologize on that, but yes, it is very tight all the way around, dead center, but at the same time, man, there's no room in here for anything. They've done a lot of work on a production chassis and added that kind of custom division fit and finish to it to make it just gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I would have liked to see a little bit of maybe some internal skeletonization on the actual flipper tab. That would have been pretty special to see. But can't have it all. But they do also have that kind of satin flat. I don't know if you can see that on the flipper tab as well, which looks quite nice. And it is forward of the pivot, just like the Quantum design. I always talk about how far back you want that flipper tab from dead center. And it is certainly remarkable. We can see the milling as well. in that white carbo tie. All the way down, should be under my thumb here as well. Let's take a look there, yeah. All the milling lines, really, really nice and tight. Beautifully done. God, this thing just bounces light around like no tomorrow, eh? Whew. All the bevel and milling is very much akin to the standard quantum finish, where just the layers and layers of milling on here are gorgeous. Balanced nicely against that titanium backstop. We have a metal lock bar insert / over trowel stop, obviously on this blade, and it is pushed out just like the normal quantum design, as you would expect. It's popped back, and ooh, that's gorgeous. That's a gorgeous shot to take a look at, actually, if it wants to focus. This is the kind of area I would show, Instagram photos at, because it just looks so crisp and pristine. I'll get some measurements on this. I have yet to do that, and wait, I apologize. Sometimes I just get too excited and don't really think too much. So let me grab my tape measure here, and we'll get some measurements on this. All right, what do we got? So we're coming in at 8 3/4. It looks like overall length, plus the lanyard and whatnot we haven't even talked about. And then blade length just under 4 inches by design. Handle of 4 7/8, something like that. Quite nice. Just excellent size. I always say Shirogorovs, people look at that 4-inch more or less blade, and they seem to think it's quite a bit bigger in hand than they think. And it certainly isn't. It's quite a thin knife. So let's get this guy kind of, there we go, zeroed off. And we'll zero this off twice here. There we go. And 5 ounces? 4 ounces, geez, not even close. 4 ounces? Maybe that's what I meant to say. I can't edit that now. 4.1 ounces with a bead, so 4-ounce knife. That's about right. Clearly I meant to say 4. But obviously I can't be wrong. 4-ounce knife, that's great. 4-inch blade, 4 ounces, that's the sweet spot. The old saying, the ounces to inches ratio. So it's a 3.5-inch blade, you want it to weigh 3.5 ounces. 4-inch blade, you want it to weigh 4 ounces. This certainly checks that box. Let's take a look at the bead, and then we'll do some comparisons. So you kind of get that white carbo tie, which looks gorgeous. Nicely matched to both sides of the knife. Then you get that kind of, I don't know how they do that. They must press them together or bond them or something, but you've got that titanium as well on there. That looks beautiful. And I don't know if you can see this, but there is a little shield underneath the knot. I'm going to pull that back. There you go. You can see there's that Shirogorov shield. Just gorgeous. Love that kind of stuff. And then the ball knot. I have yet to figure out how to tie one of these. If I could, I would make $1 million. But I cannot figure out how to do that knot because I'm not willing to ask ChatGPT, but that's okay. I guess I always mention this on every video, in how that on the backspacer you have access to the lanyard hole, and I never often really get to show a quantum with a lanyard attached to it. So there you go. From the side, you've got no holes through the knife. It's just nice and clean. But from the top here, you've got that beautiful little cutout on the backspacer, which makes a lot of sense to kind of tuck a lanyard in there. That's beautiful. In terms of sizing, let's grab some knives, and we'll do some quick comparisons, and then we'll kind of wrap up. I don't have a whole lot to do. Let's grab which way do we want to go? Probably down, bottom up. Grab a Stellar, which I think I mentioned last video. I finally found that in the wife's glove box, of all places. And my Neon. Good sizing. So there's kind of your small, medium, large. There is one size larger than this in the 111, which is gets its name from the 111 mil blade length. But anyway, this is kind of the 3 main sizes of Shiros. small, medium, and large. This is kind of your bug out. This is your in between, and this is your large. But like I said, a lot of people don't really realize how thin and carryable the Quantiums and F95s are. They're such a good size. Such a good size. I will show, obviously, compared to my Hattie, which is an F95, but composite CCKS front scale. I've got my blue Quantium as well, which I never seem to show, but it is always beside me. So there's your Quantium, which is what this is based on. And if we're talking Quantium to Quantium, you know, these are completely different knives. You know, completely different. So a lot more going on in this knife than this. So if we want to talk about why one is more expensive than the other, just look at them, and like that should be pretty self-explanatory. But much improved pivot hardware, completely different blade, a lot more milling on the all over. Like just look at the lock bar, for example. Completely different. Completely different. If we want to go into some other Shiros, we can do that as well. Let's put that back down here. Let's put it there. Probably will have the Loxa and some videos moving forward, so why not compare one now? There you go. There's your Loxa versus the Quantium. Also a nice size comparison. I think that Loxa is going to be probably one of the collabs of the decade. By the way, those things are gorgeous, gorgeous knives, and oh, incredible. We can do our Dr. Death, which I seem to show a lot. I always use it for the flipper tab. Let's slide that down just a little bit, and then I'll make room for the Russian Overkill. Both of which there's more of these than these, which is kind of strange. And then we'll do some Chris Reeves. Everyone always asks to see the small and large Sebenza, which is awesome. Everyone knows what size a small and large Sebenza seems to be. So, there you go. There's the small, and where is my large? There we go. There's your large. So there's your two. This guy's leaning because of a little pigtail. There's your two Chris Reeves. I don't know if I can get this to not flip down. Anyway, there you go. Now I actually do have a set of these Chris Reeve white carbo tie models as well. I was thinking about maybe adding to the case as my comparable knives to kind of standardize the look and size, but more to come on them. Okay, final thoughts, I guess, on this knife. Probably yakking on more than normal. It's stunning. I just think this is, you know, if you're a collector, there's 50 of these made. They're lottery knives. They're going to be tough to grab, I imagine. Quantiums, they're tried and true model with the F95. You know, I suppose you could argue I wish it had roller bearings. But with the PLDS on it, you know, the action on it, like, it's ridiculous. It feels like it's on roller bearings. If you would have blindfolded me and asked me the question, I'd be like, yeah, that definitely feels smoother than MRBS standard. So there's that. The cool blade, you know, once again, to get that blade on an Astrum sprint run or a MIDI Q sprint run, you're in 6,000 US. So I think that would be a tough one to kind of get. And now, you know, you're kind of coming in around, I think these were around 2,000 US table, which is right in the, well, now below custom division price point, which is crazy. I think they've gone up more now. You know, to get that steel, you know, and to check it out, and they're all going to be different and unique. I think that's pretty sick. So, you know, any collection, I think that this is absolutely one that people are going to want to grab. Oh, God. It's just so smooth. I love Shirogorovs. I could just flip these all day long, but I won't. Absolutely gorgeous. And I'm trying to think, like, was there anything I missed? Was there any Easter eggs? I always try to show every angle of the knife, but I don't think there were any Easter eggs that I missed on this one. Just underneath the that backspacer, which looks sick underneath. Oh, so sick. I love that kind of stuff if it wants to focus. I love that kind of stuff in there. So 4 ounces, Quantum, ZDI-E, Zladinox, Damascus blade, super sick, LMAX base, and it's got the custom division finish to it, which is very high end. And then the pivot and hardware to match with a super cool bead, limited to 50 pieces worldwide. I think that these are going to, I think they're going to be popular, and nice little addition to a lot of knife collectors' collections, because they're going to be tougher to get. They're making less of these than custom divisions. Isn't that nuts? Custom divisions now are 100 pieces. There's 50 of these. Go figure. Nuts. Alright, well, I will likely leave you there. I'm trying to keep these shorter than long. I just tend to rattle on for 40 minutes lately versus, you know, I can just kind of chat for 20, 25, whatever I'm at, I don't know. But hopefully it's less than half an hour. So anyway, guys, have yourself a fantastic week. Check out BladeZilla.ca for more. TikTok, follow me there. Instagram, follow me there. Throw a thumbs up on the video. It always helps kind of get these out to more knife enthusiasts like yourself. And until next time, we'll catch you around. Peace.